He separates himself a bit from Emerson Fittipaldi, and Rick Mears has dropped back. But the fight is at the front of the field, and there it is. Here comes Little Al making a move to the inside. He takes the line away from Michael Andretti. Can they hold on? He's got it. It's now Al Unser Jr. in front.
Beautiful. That's as good a pass as you're ever going to see. Michael saw the car coming, left the room. He didn't want to end his race right there at the end of the first lap.
Cars jump around a lot, Paul.
Mario Andretti sets up to challenge Rick Mears. It'll be very difficult for us. I'm sure it will be for you to recognize Rick in that yellow car. And look at Mario as he darts to the inside, picks up the position on Mears, but Mears has none of it. He's going to come along. Now we have a drag race on Shoreline. Mears and Mario Andretti.
And that's really a drag race because they go through that turn about, think of this, 30 miles an hour. It's so slow.
And touch up towards 175 miles an hour. A Lola chassis for Mario Andretti, a Penske for Rick Mears, identical Chevrolet power. And for the moment, it goes to Mario. Challenge on Ari Luyendyk running just ahead. They come down into the first corner. Cheever pursuing just as hard and hot as he can. And Cheever works his way through. A slower car lies just ahead of him. And look at that. Look at Cheever duck under Luyendyk. Scott Pruitt tries to get through to it. Pruitt makes it past as well. So Cheever and Pruitt move forward.
To outbreak him. And there are only, as we said earlier, about 3 or 4 places on the track that are ideal for that. They're not in one now, but they're coming around to a very bumpy straightaway. And if he tries to outbreak him on the inside, you'll see the car really rattle around. It's at the end of this straightaway. There's Cheever behind Goodyear. You see him pull out.
Up, moves to the inside, tries to get the line away. They're both hard on the brakes. And Cheever takes the line, holds him up, and grabs the position.
Well, you say one thing he knew he could.
And John Andretti, there's the cause of those yellow flags as John Andretti up against the wall. Here's Jack Arute.
Well, before the display of the full course yellow, Michael Andretti determined that he was going to come into the pits. Before the display of the full course yellow, Michael Andretti determined that he was going to come into the pits. Michael's away. Let's go to Gary Gerald. Gary?
And they finished service on Emerson Fittipaldi, and this is a quick stop, Jack. It was right around 11 seconds, but throttled on pit road.
Terrible crash. It looked like the Andretti car for a second there as he came over the top of Fittipaldi. On the exit, we had just mentioned that it is Michael, and Michael got way in the air, but he reaches down, takes the steering wheel off. He's okay, but boy, it looked like he got high. Just exactly what we talked about just moments before that, and how careful you have to be when you jump to the pits so very quickly.
Look at this. It's going to be a confrontation, I think.
Michael Andretti runs back down the center of the pits. That car sits there, and Michael goes right for the Penske pits.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, it's really too late for any arguments. I know he's mad. It's really sad that it has to happen.
Look at him. Look at Michael right there down in the Penske pit saying, what were you thinking? What happened here? Michael Andretti, who was definitely in the fight. Here is Fittipaldi. As he started to move away, they waved him out. He pulled out and pulled fairly wide as he came out to avoid that pit in front of him. And there came Michael with no place to go, hit the brakes. Fittipaldi didn't have much choice, though.
Oh, there wasn't any choice. That was, in a way, an unavoidable accident. It's a serious accident. It almost got Michael on his head, but what would Fittipaldi do? He just gave everybody else enough room. He came out. Unfortunately, he squeezed Michael in, but it was not an intentional thing.
Well, there's the first substantial incident of this race as an angry Michael Andretti makes the long walk all the way to the pit entrance where his team is.
Let's say you're looking at it from Andretti's standpoint. He would say that the Penske men should not have waved Fittipaldi out. Correct?
Stan, that's not true. That's maybe what he's thinking, but it's not true. Fittipaldi left plenty of time ahead of time. It's just one of those unfortunate things when two people can't fit in the same pit.
Here's Fittipaldi coming back into the pits, and he's rolling through with damage on one side of the car, and Rick Mears had a problem with one of the pace cars.
Ran into the tire barrier.
So a race that has gone so smoothly suddenly is in total disarray.
One yellow flag, and we've got more action.
Oh, look at the damage on Fittipaldi. Look at that damage.
Well, that's going to put him out one way or the other. That's going to be too severe damage to keep on going. We've lost a lot of cars over a very unfortunate incident.
And in the side pods of that race car are electronics, cooling systems. It's not just decoration.
All the brains are right in there, plus the cooling system, like you say, Paul, and plus their heat exchanger for the oil is right in there.
The that gets away with it and comes through so very smooth. Look at Michael. He doesn't believe it.
Nowhere to go.
He's right. He said he had nowhere to go.
Well, Michael Andretti apparently not aware, though, that another crew was laid out in front of Fittipaldi, and Fittipaldi was drifting. These are very narrow pits here, Bobby.
Well, often they are. And, you know, pits will never be totally good. As we've watched the NASCAR races, they've had problems. And I guess sometimes when you just have things all happen the wrong way, it's going to be bad.
Let's take another look at this situation. Here is Fittipaldi as the Penske team completes their stop with Fittipaldi. Everything is routine to this point. Rick Reineman says, take the car out, you're fine.
Look at
But
the
just
tires
ahead.
that are put out.
Look ahead here. See the tires? Now Fittipaldi's cutting them. He could maybe get a little closer, but there comes Michael.
Now remember, the problem really would come from the fact that Michael's the first one in on the pits. He's way upstream. He had a chance to get going fast. Emo's at almost the bottom end of the pit, so he's going a lot slower.
Well, Toyota pace car is definitely out. And the situation on that pace car took the corner a little wide, it looked like. And Rick went with him.
I don't know who the pace car driver is, but he's going to be embarrassed also.
Let's go to the pits and Jack Arute.
Michael, quite simply, in your words, what happened down there?
Well, Emerson's pit crew waved Emo out right in front of me, and I had nowhere to go. All I did was just get pinned up against the wall, and I hit him, and it was just a bad circumstance.
The word was that there was another pit right directly in front of Emo, and that they had to wave him out that way because of the fact that that pit was already full. Were you aware of that when you were coming down through there?
No, I'm not aware of that. All I know is all of a sudden I'm going to T-bone Emerson. He's right in front of me. So I think it was the responsibility of their guys not to wave him out, you know, because they saw me coming full blast. I was already in third gear flat out, and, you know, I had nowhere to go.
That dramatically changes the complexion of the race, and for more on this, let's go to Gary Gerald.
And Jack, here's the other principal, Emerson Fittipaldi, who's had a chance now to talk to his crew and get his breath. Emerson, a very, very frightening moment.
Well, I'm very disappointed. You know, Michael has to accept I was going out of the pit ahead of him. He should back off. There's no space where to go. And it just hit him on the back. I mean, what else can I do?
Did you see him in your mirrors? Did you have any indication there was a car coming?
No, they told me I was ahead of Michael just to go. And I mean, this is the pit exit. I was ahead of him. There is a solid car ahead of him. I mean, how he hasn't seen me going out, he has to back off. Like I did back off for the other drivers that are coming to the pit. They are getting out, I have to back off.
Have you ever had a pit accident like this before in your IndyCar career?
Never had, first time.
All right. Well, we're going to take a look from an onboard camera. Paul, we go back up to you.
Yeah, Bobby Rahal's point of view. Some logic in both explanations. Here was Rahal. As he was coming out, Michael and Emo well down the course, and Bobby had to dart over and get away from some debris so he didn't cut down his tires as he came away. The pits for Michael Andretti, about 300 yards down from where Emerson Fittipaldi is. The double flags, of course, means we have a full course yellow as the field lines up behind the pace car, and we will come back to a restart as soon as they have all the debris cleared away both on the track and down in the pits. Al Unser Jr., well, they close up behind him as well. It's going to be quite a finish.
Hey, those cars are the same, Paul.
Cheever right behind Rahal.
Yeah, and I doubt if little Al...
Oh, two cars together. It looks like the 22 car of Scott Brayton and Scott Goodyear. The Scotts together in the turn. Oh, boy. And the corner workers might be able to push them both back and get them going.
I don't know. We may see another big yellow flag.
Yeah, see Scott Brayton. He's signaling. He says, get us out of here. Get us a tow. Look at that. Look at that. There's no lane there. So, boy, I hope everybody there should be waving yellows 2 or 3 turns ahead of this, telling them to slow down and look out for this.
There is room to get by, of course, but that's not in the racing line, and it would be very easy for a driver to come around that corner and plow right in.
Jr. be the first car to get there. Just 2 more corners to go. Goodyear was 5th. Brayton was in 8th place just before this. Now he's got a right-hander and then a left-hander, and that left-hander is the approach to the hairpin.
Good. Now he's going to see
now he's
car
coming
Goodyear
around.
being pulled back.
All right, here is little Al as he comes to the hairpin. Yeah, look out careful. But
good work by the course workers. That was quick, and they also did exactly the right thing, which is as important as acting fast.
Excellent job by those course workers and the officials there.
They are really good course workers.
Brayton was just caught outside of another car he was outside of Scott Goodyear, and Maschusta was out there as well, and the two of them got together.
We've always said you can't pass there. I see the cars right now, 3 abreast. Of course, 2 of them didn't make it. That's one place where you really shouldn't try to pass.
Maybe they were right.
Yeah, they're confirming what we already believed. You can't pass there, and don't try it. One more time, there's the situation. Scott Goodyear and Brayton were just racing with one another, and neither one of them worked in it.
Well, they don't.
It has seen the bizarre. The opener in Australia saw defending PPG champion Al Unser Jr. lead 39 laps, only to end his day along with front-runners Eddie Cheever and Mario Andretti in the chicane on the back straight. John Fittipaldi and Michael Andretti ended both their days and set the scene for Phoenix. Because as Al Unser Jr. took the checkered flag, Emo and Mike found themselves with 2 straight DNFs and by the tri-oval that is Phoenix International Raceway. A mile bull ring that is as unpredictable as it is unconquerable. Mistakes turn into disaster quickly on the unforgiving bank turns. Yet it is here that Fittipaldi and Andretti, champions in their own right, must battle to rejoin the championship race. In the moves to the outside of Rick Mears, traffic just ahead, Scott Pruitt, Scott Goodyear, and Mario uses the traffic to his advantage and moves forward.
But this is exactly, and now you
look at Danny Sullivan. Sullivan and Fittipaldi just behind. There goes Sullivan past Rick, and there goes teammate Fittipaldi going to make a try as well.
Still, this is the moment that Rick Mears does not panic. He's been in this situation before. He knows he has 2 pit stops coming up at least before the end of the race. Opportunities to rework his car, and you see him shoot by down on the inside. There's his wife, Chris.
Danny Sullivan got trapped in that maneuver, was forced down to the inside. Here he's taking a car up into the wall. And that is Scott Goodyear. Oh, that's too bad. He was right in the middle of all that traffic, too.
Boy, there was a lot of traffic. Things were really getting busy right in there for a while, Paul.
So the yellow flag is out. The field flows for the first time here at Phoenix. Michael Andretti has the lead of the race, but we run under caution for the first time as Scott Goodyear, the young Canadian with such a spectacular career going, catches the wall while running in fairly heavy traffic. And in the pits, well, there's Emerson Fittipaldi as they make a change. Jackaroo.
Well, they made a slight change, but the people that think...
In turn 3, and Ari Leyendijk very wisely goes for the pits. Indeed, that is Guido Dacco. Got up high, brushed the wall with the right side of his race car. The kart safety team already on the scene. The caution comes out, and Leyendijk heads for the pits. Gary Gerald.
We're watching the Ari Leyendijk crew. This is basically a new team since Mo Nunn came over. Big Jim.
Onboard camera. See, Dacco just seemed to kind of push up toward the wall as he came off. Now watch this. You think they don't hit this wall a ton? By the way, the cameraman there, Tim Collins, he's okay too. Guido's a little shaken up. Tim may be more shaken up. And look at the wall. Look at the crack. Try to punch a hole in that thing.
That's a hard hit. That just shows you how hard those cars hit sometimes, why the drivers have their...
Slow motion from on board Scott Brayton, Bobby.
Now just watch it going in. Each car just pivots. The rear end came loose. It was entering the corner right into the turn where the hardest place to keep the rear end under the car is, and it just jumped out and whammo right into the wall, and you can see it almost punched a hole through the wall.
Guido is 48 years old. It's tough to take a hit like that at that age. He lives in Monaco.
Of course, these cars with their composite materials, the carbon fiber, all drivers, of course, wearing an extensive 6-point harness seatbelt that holds them tightly in the cockpit. They're very safe as well. Here's Gary Gerald.
Paul, during this yellow, Michael...
There's Cheever with Leyendijk coming to the outside and challenging Cheever. A battle for second. Look at Ari dial around on the high side. Forces Cheever down a little bit.
Boy, they're almost touching tires there. Those tires couldn't have been 3 inches apart. That's
some time with her. Not the only one heading for Italy. I'm going to go and take a look at Rick Mears. Look at Rick Mears inside Rahal. And Mears picks up 5th place.
Now, since we saw Rick leading the race earlier, he's had 2 times in the pits, 2 chassis adjustments.
And look at Michael. Michael's right there, too. Oh, as they work through traffic, where's Michael going to go? He's going to the outside. Wow!
That was a pass. That was a pass and a half. That's been the best pass all day.
That takes Hall Brayton and Leyendijk. Look at Leyendijk with the lower line. Leyendijk, drag race alongside Mario. Pushes him high to the outside. Fight for the lead. Ari Leyendijk has it for the moment at the halfway point in this race. 100 laps complete, 100 miles, and Arie Luyendyk back to the front, in front of the hometown crowd. Three only, it's not a command to move over. Here Arie finally makes the try, and look at Cheever. Cheever comes by Mario and picks up second place at the same time.
Fix that little door that's just hanging loose, Paul, or where they just rip it off and leave it off or try to put it back on.
Bobby Rahal challenges Fittipaldi on the backside, and Rahal pushes past him, but Fittipaldi's staying right there. It's a fight for third, and Rahal has it.
He definitely gets by, but I was saying on that little door, it really shouldn't be hurt.
Can he hold on to this one, Bobby Unser? No, Michael cuts him off.
It can't do it, but by the same token, this is one of the widest racetracks in the whole United States, and it's easy to pass. It's a driver's track, and it's certainly, look at Rick. He's going to try it again going into three turns.
Rick Mears gives it another shot. This time he may, in fact, have it done as Rick Mears moves down inside of Michael, but they'll be almost side by side as they come onto the home stretch here. And indeed, Michael tries to close in. Robbie Rahal is right there, knowing that if either one of them bobbles, he may have a chance as well. Rahal runs the high line. Rick Mears pulls away from Michael.
Fabulous racing, Mears. You see the bid there by Rahal on Michael.
As Bobby Rahal tries Michael Andretti, and again they're right alongside one another. Nice wide groove here on this very flat Milwaukee mile, but Rahal moves forward. And now Michael Andretti has to struggle back, but he's going to try Rahal again. No struggle for Michael. He's going to give it a shot. Boy, look back. You're looking back from Bobby Rahal's car. That's Michael just behind him.
Now, Michael's been passed by two cars right in a row. He's really starting to figure out, does he have something wrong with his car? You can tell he's driving hard. But what it is, this is a handling man's racetrack. A guy that can work the traffic the best. It's a wide track. The guy that can set his car the best.
And Al Unser Jr. is definitely on a charge. There's the leader of the race, Mario Andretti. But little Al has charged up and moved into second place and is now beginning to challenge Mario Andretti. Mario with traffic line just ahead. That's Tony Bettenhausen sitting to the outside. And little Al takes advantage. Little Al gets him on the backstretch. New leader of the race, Al Unser Jr.
Paul, he's just really been flying. I mean, we've watched in 31 laps. He's gone from 10th place clear to leading the race.
So Al Unser Jr. is out in front here at Milwaukee. Let's go to Gary Gerald. Oh. And there is Scott Pruitt as he now moves alongside of Mario. Can he hold on to it?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got Mario. Scott Pruitt has got past Mario. A brilliant pass on the main stretch. And there is Michael, who is still in the lead of this race and right there with him.
A pass on the outside, Paul. I tell you, that's a hard pass.
There's Rick Mears, second place, coming up to challenge Michael.
Whoa!
And boy, that's a pretty easy pass. Either Rick is working real well or Michael decided to let him go through. What do you think?
Well, I think it's Michael not working quite as well. Rick has just been about the same all day. Remember, Rick is probably the most experienced oval track driver that we have here today. He's thinking more at the end of the race. And his boss, Roger Penske, and he's smart on this.
With Scott Pruitt.
Al trying to go down the inside. Now, this is that very bumpy bit of track. Scott takes his line. It's really his corner. I mean, he is in front. Wheels touch. Doesn't seem to have deranged that right front wheel, which gave the True Sports car quite a belt, and the True Sports car looks okay too. So both pretty lucky there.
Here you see Eddie Cheever in, and we've got a spinner. That looks like Danny Sullivan in trouble.
On course. Goes the wrong way down.
Gets it out of the way.
Reverse.
Sullivan had a chance of winning this race a couple of years back. Trying to get back in it now, driving the Alfa Romeo car. Patrick Racing. Danny Sullivan, who was running in 10th. Carrying on at 47 of 62 laps complete, and there you see the Dennis Vitolo car in trouble. That's that car out of Warren, Michigan, car number 39. Trying to get it cranked once again, hoping to have a good day here. Those are all local sponsorships. There's a dentistry on the back of it. Looks like a stock car for Saturday night kind of sponsor, David.
Yeah, get your teeth knocked out here pretty quick. And that's one of the corners that's supposed to be breaking up. The corner workers trying to get him out of the way. Put some lock on it, Dennis. That's it. Turn the wheel. That's what it's for, lad.
You're terrible. You're just terrible. Dennis is out
now
there.
Now turn it the other way while they push you backwards. Other way.
We'll return with more live coverage of the Valvoline Detroit Grand Prix after this message and a word from your local station. Second victory here is in the lead with Andretti in second, Ray Hall third, Lyondike fourth, and Eddie Cheever maintaining fifth. It's Mears in sixth, and we're coming to a full course caution at this moment. Here's John Andretti in seventh, Al Unser Jr. eighth, and Mario Andretti's car in trouble, and Michael's car has come to a stop, and the whole track is blocked. We're under a full course caution, and what has happened is the Dennis Vitolo car that we were talking about as we went to commercial, they brought out that safety vehicle to move that car, and I believe that Mario has run into the safety vehicle.
Mario ran into it, and it looks like Michael ran into Mario, and now Bobby Rahal's stuck there as well. Red flag's out. The whole thing's going to come to a halt.
Red flag is halted as this safety vehicle, which is something that you have questioned several times about having these things darting and dodging around the track, has put us in a situation where we are going to a red flag condition.
Michael getting out of the car there, going to go and have words with his dad, gesticulating. Yeah, look at them. A lot of Italian being spoken in that corner right now. We don't know what happened because Vitolo had trouble getting away from that position, and we don't know whether the safety vehicle has arrived there or not. But obviously,
let's take a look. Maybe we can find out.
This is one of the corners that's breaking up, by the way, so these drivers may have found it difficult to stop. Here we see a replay. They're putting it through safely. Here comes the safety vehicle.
And pretty much in the line. Guerrero getting through. This was taped moments ago.
Mario. 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 Mario.
Now you know that the flagmen were working on the other side to alert him there was a condition on the other side of the corner, but right in the line was that safety vehicle, and there's Michael getting into it.
Well, now Michael and Mario, to be really, I mean, everybody else got through.
Know that the flagmen were working on the other side to alert him there was a condition on the other side of the corner, but right in the line was that safety vehicle, and there's Michael getting into it.
Well, now Michael and Mario, to be really, I mean, everybody else got through.
Dennis Vitolo back signaling the cars behind, and Ray Hall has to come to a complete halt. So
Mario. 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 Mario.
Now, you know that the flagmen were working on the other side to alert him there was a condition on the other side of the corner, but right in the line was that safety vehicle, and there's Michael getting into it.
Well, now Michael and Mario, to be really, I mean, everybody else got through.
Know that the flagmen were working on the other side to alert him there was a condition on the other side of the corner, but right in the line was that safety vehicle, and there's Michael getting into it.
Well, now Michael and Mario, to be really, I mean, everybody else got through.
Dennis Vitolo back signaling the cars behind, and Ray Hall has to come to a complete halt. So we are under a
red flag.
Full course red. Emerson Fittipaldi in the lead, Michael Andretti in second, Bobby Rahal in third, Lyondike in fourth, and the race is red flagged, and Michael Andretti kaput. Mario Andretti's car out, and here's where it all came untethered in the 10th annual Detroit Grand Prix. Strike Mario Andretti from 9th and Michael from 2nd. Fittipaldi would be your leader. Rahal had been running in third. Red flag condition. We'll see what develops from here. And while they were waiting for the traffic to get cleared, look what happened to car number 90 out here.
That's Buddy Lazier's car out of Vail, Colorado. I guess he didn't like standing there. We see from the onboard camera of Bobby Rahal shaking his head saying, what the heck is going on?
Here's Mike Joy.
Well, I'm in the Andretti pit where there is considerable confusion. Owner Carl Haas and his team just had a look at it on our replay on the monitors down here on pit road. They've not talked to Mario, and the reason is the antenna for the two-way radio is located in the nose piece just about the height of that safety truck's bumper. Michael's car, which spun off into the Vitolo machine, they are trying to get back to pit road and get him back in the race. So you see all sorts of tools here at the ready. In the event one or both Andretti's can make it back to pit lane.
Well, we'll be back with more under a red flag condition. There are 50 of 62 laps complete, and more on the story of this unusual Detroit Grand Prix in a moment. After one of the most unusual altercations that we've witnessed. Here's what happened. Dennis Vitolo's car had stopped. They were going to pick it up with a safety car, and Mario Andretti socks into the back of it. And then shortly thereafter, as they came out to administer to Mario Andretti,
Michael probably saw his dad had completely blocked the road. Just at the last minute, he'd be coming up the hill from 3 to turn 4 here, was going to swing wide right, suddenly saw the road blocked, although that car there seemed to have got away with it okay. And the next thing is
that Michael runs out of room, and he's collected in this incident, like father, like son. So the entire race has been, there's Michael's car coming into it, and the track is entirely blocked, and the situation now is that lined up behind where this incident has taken place is the entire rest of the field. Now this Joy.
He is hot, Ken, and it's not just the weather. Michael, what happened there?
Well, there should have been a full course yellow thrown, and there wasn't. Came around there, it was a local yellow for a while, and we knew what the position of the car. But then we come around the next time, and here my poor dad stuffed underneath the truck. And I came around, I was in first gear, because I was taking it easy because I thought, you know, that there was a little trouble, and I mean, there was nowhere to go. And I hit Vitolo's car, and, you know, total two Newman Haas cars for nothing.
You mean they moved the stalled car from where it was to the other side of the racetrack into the line?
And right into the line. The truck was right into the line, and my dad nailed the truck.
So, is he okay?
It was a totally blind corner. I mean, you have no idea what's around the next corner, and you know, there should have been a full course yellow, and yeah, Dad is all right.
We reported he's on his way back to his pit. Sorry to have fate steal one from you here today.
Thanks.
Was shown well out of contention. He was back in 20th spot, several laps down. And Mario, is, you can see here, is angry and does not want to go on television, but to his crew, he's letting them know in no uncertain terms how unhappy he is about what has happened to this team today. The entire team eliminated in this incident that happened on the corner of Woodbridge and St. Antoine here in the streets of Detroit. Mean streets indeed for the Andretti family. Look again at what happened.
getting to call the race. Yeah, Wallace and the race.
There you see Mario coming around the corner, full lock on. Car not responding at all because the front wheels are locked up. So he has no steering way at all. Somebody else gets through there. I can't work out who that was still. But,
now, they have two of these vehicles that are alike, the number 1 and the number 2, and they switch positions all the way around the track. In other words, there's one equidistant on this 2.5-mile course, and if one is called into service, the other one moves around. So there is a lot of movement of these vehicles, and it does give you a heartthrob to see them out there with these cars zipping by at 150, 160 miles an hour.
It certainly looked, though, as if Michael arrived on the scene just a little bit too quick, for all he says. And seeing his dad there online, he took a handful of left-hand lock to try and miss his dad, and of course ran into the other car. But of course, as they say, it's easy to say that sitting in here.
What is first gear worth on this track? How fast? First gear.
Oh, 60 mile an hour.
Back with more from Detroit in a moment. Chris Economaki is standing by with Mario.
Oh, Mario, thank you very much for coming up here moments before the race started. We didn't get to see. We're going to play the whole incident for you here on our monitor here. Perhaps you can tell us how you saw it and what the problems were. Okay, roll the tape, Bob.
Problem is, obviously, I didn't see you. See, notice how far the truck was out. I saw this car. This car is the only thing that we could see coming around the corner because it's a blind corner. He had no idea that they would have the big truck out there right on the line. So it was just ridiculous. Usually when there's something like that, you can expect a full course yellow, because if it's a local yellow, you still, once you know the way the incident is set up, you pretty much, you calculate that. But this was a surprise the next lap. And the car that was there, in my opinion, if they were going to keep a local yellow, should have just been pushed back and be done with it, not try to tow it away with a huge truck right on the line there. It's impossible. I was afraid that one of these days, one of those things was going to happen.
How bad? I see your car's in line to restart. What's wrong with it, and what kind of shape will it be when the green comes out again?
Well, the top is broken up, but structurally it's okay. So, as you can see, that's evidence that I slowed down quite a bit for the accident, but there was, the truck was just a total surprise. Just no way I could turn by not knowing that it was there.
What kind of corrective action will you recommend CART take after this incident?
Well, if they were going to bring the safety truck out there, they should go to full course yellow. Then we're not racing anymore.
Okay, thanks very much, Mario. Get back to your car. Appreciate you coming by to give us a word. Mario Andretti, still at it after many, many years, and a very obliging guy when it comes. 200, and there's the green flag, and Rick Mears and Emerson Fittipaldi as they come 5 wide, and they touch, coming down toward the chicane. And look, as Andretti moves up to the front of the field and battles for the lead. Boy, surprised that they made it through on that one.
My word, what an aggressive move we saw by Michael Andretti. Squeezed down the inside. Rick Mears was in his way, hit him a smack, went outside Emerson Fittipaldi. Very, very aggressive move by Michael Andretti.
And this was the start. The green flag just down the course there. They acknowledge it. Now let's watch Michael.
Now he's catching Emerson, so he has to make a move. He can't make it, then he makes it.
Wow, just made on courage, don't you think?
Whoa, he braked very. Look at the corrections he made on the way into the chicane and then exiting the chicane. Absolutely on the limit of that car.
And look at there. That's Scott Brayton sideways in the track as Michael Andretti just squeezes past. Looks to be about 1 car width right behind Scott Brayton. Here's what happened just a moment ago. Scott Brayton battling with Scott Goodyear, and Brayton just got the back end loose. That's Jeff Andretti that came through as well.
And wasn't able to stop the car on the grass because there isn't very much grip there. We say, oh, look at flames in the back of the car. Was not able to stop on the grass, slipped back right onto the line. A very dangerous, precarious situation for Brayton.
Remember, that comes in. This will be the last race. Danny Sullivan, a display of smoke at the back of his Alfa Romeo car, and that looks serious.
For sure, that is the end of the day. There's never that much smoke without some major problems. So although Sullivan still sits in the car, it's a matter of time. His day is over. Yeah, there the steering wheel gets thrown out in disgust, I think.
Pat Patrick in the yellow sweater watching just behind the pits. In his 25th year of racing in the IndyCars, steps down off his little stand for watching and turns his back on the car. Every week they send a new engine over from Italy. Every week they try something new. And their answer seems to be, well, it's working on the dyno. And Pat Patrick and Jim McGee and Danny Sullivan say the dyno is just not the racetrack.
The dyno is not the racetrack. It does not allow for...
Andretti is having a lot of trouble getting around Scott Pruitt. Now, part of the reason is Scott is involved in a battle with Eddie Cheever himself, and it's a battle for 9th place. But boy, here's one very angry Michael Andretti. Let's go to Jan Bikas.
Well, they're also very angry down here, and Michael Andretti
behind him. Look at this. Look. Right up behind Pruitt. Waves his fist, does everything he can. Pruitt needs to let him by.
Now, but Pruitt, of course, is in a battle with that car just in front of him. That's the number 8 car of Eddie Cheever. They're averaging 115.4 miles an hour, so it's a fairly good pace. Carl Haas still keeping track. Many of the course marshals here, by the way, are from the SCC. Went through it in the Detroit River. He won the race. Now we're back to watching Michael Andretti. He tries to get inside Pruitt, and Pruitt runs him off onto the curb, and he makes it pass. Michael makes it pass. So now he's finally unlimbered from Scott Pruitt. He takes a look in the mirror. Boy, he wasn't happy with that one. Now he's got Cheever lying just ahead of him. Remember, he's the leader of the race, threading his way up through the pack. That's Tony Bettenhausen, the number 16 car, now just in front of Michael.
Hi, Michael's radio. You'd hear a lot more than diabolic.
Oh, look at Fittipaldi as he works to the outside of Bettenhausen. Bettenhausen lets him pass. Now he has the Pruitt situation lying just ahead of him. Resolved their battle. This is on board the Quaker State onboard cam. Yanked it down a gear, brought it up over the curb. Pretty gutsy move for Michael.
Pretty gutsy move, and something that you don't always get away with. And that's why I said there is no reason why he should have to make such an aggressive and dangerous move when he's leading the race, lapping somebody.
Ready. Speaking of the family, well, a problem there as he pulls off the course. He was running in 9th place just prior to this, but whatever it was, he recognized that it was something serious and got the car off right away. This race started with 2 full rows under the name Andretti. One of them, John, winner of the first race of the year.
Well, there's something unusual we've seen this year. You don't often see that Pennzoil car stop. John Andretti really has a great season so far. What a way to start off a new team relationship with a new driver with a win like he had in Australia. But we can't see what's wrong. No smoke. May not be the engine. Could be something in the transmission.
It was Bobby Rahal that outclassed the field to earn his first win in an IndyCar. He comes here winless in '91, but is on top of the PPG points chase. 1986, when Danny Sullivan pushed his car to the limit, he led 59 of 88 laps and took the checkered flag. Now Sullivan is a 3-time winner here, and he comes to Cleveland trying to help his Alfa Romeo team to its first ever win. 1989, Michael Andretti started on the pole and led the first 26 laps. Then, a collision in the pits with his father Mario gave the lead over to Emerson Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi went on to win the race, adding a PPG championship to his 2 Formula One titles. Today's race for Fittipaldi is a time to close in the points chase, both highs and lows. Al Unser Jr. moved up on the start from 4th place to take a commanding lead. But then tragedy struck when a pit fire ended little Al's day. With the fire, Danny Sullivan inherited the lead and went on to take the checkered flag. But now, the IndyCars prepare to do battle once again on the airport runways. It's the 10th running of the Budweiser Cleveland Grand Prix. Over his right shoulder as they now are on the straight, leading down toward the start-finish line, and Al Unser Jr. So 3 onboard cameras here today as the field comes onto the pit straight. Emerson Fittipaldi, the pole sitter. The left side of your screen brings them down. The green flag is out, and already they're racing. Look at Al Unser Jr. as he darts well to the inside and begins to challenge Fittipaldi as Michael takes a wide line to the outside. And Al Unser Jr. for the moment pushes his nose ahead and picks up the lead. Just like Portland
Al Unser Jr. It's 100 feet wide leading into that first turn, but he got inside Emerson later on the brakes, and Emerson had no choice but to let him through. But did you see the funnel effect of the cars behind them? How can they all get through without touching wheels? There, it's a surface sealant they put down. They had a lot of trouble early on the practice system, but look at Emerson having a look down the inside.
Fittipaldi comes to the inside as they head back to the first corner, and he takes the lead back over from Al Unser Jr. So Fittipaldi back to the front, but look at the line the little Al uses. He cuts the corner tight as he comes off. They're on the lakeside straight now, and they're running side by side.
Great racing, but look at Emerson tries to go down the outside. Michael Andretti did this to him at the start of the race last year, and he pulls it off.
Take a look at Michael as he lines up, trying to catch an inside line on Al Unser Jr. And the two of them battle again going into the first corner on this course.
Oh, and he does get him. He does get by Al Unser Jr. So much racing room to slide down the inside. Really gives a great opportunity, but Al Jr., he made a pass there earlier on. Oh, and Mario goes down the inside.
Mario comes underneath Al Unser Jr., and Mario and Michael both now have moved ahead of Al Unser Jr., but little Al's not having any of it. He's coming back to battle the elder Andretti. And Mario slaps the door shut on little Al.
My word, what a risky move. That was turn 5. Mario trying to go down the inside out.
AJ very, very high off the corner.
Exiting turn 7, just gets a little bit too wide, drops those outside wheels onto the grass. Of course, that precipitates, can I say that word, the spin. One simple 360 and gets on his way. But AJ Foyt not having a good day. Qualified 22nd.
Third place, Al Unser Jr. and Mario Andretti. And as they come across the line, little Al gets past Mario. Just as they run into the chicane, now little Al has moved up into third place. We'll keep a focus on this. That's Bobby Rahal in the number 18 car, the Traco machine just behind him. And look at Mario. Mario comes back, and he cuts inside little Al. Little Al really stopped the brakes there.
And little Al is back inside him again, trying to make a run down the inside, but Mario's on the outside. What's going to happen here? This is the long, long right-hander to the infield.
Oh, what a great race as Al Unser Jr. now comes up to challenge. This is the demonstration of just exactly what this sport is right now. Mario Andretti, the great veteran with an incredible string of wins. His last one coming here in 1988. And Al Unser Jr., the new strong champion. The two generations fighting one another. For third place here right now, Fittipaldi still the leader. Michael Andretti running alone in second place, about 3 seconds behind Fittipaldi's car. That's bright red number 6. That's how you tell the difference between Michael's car and Mario's car. Red roll bar, red number.
Look at this. He's going to go down the inside. He is going to make the pass. He's fast enough this time.
As Mario Andretti stays on the outside. Whoa, almost cuts him right off the corner. Mario clips the brakes as Al goes out and uses a little extra section. There, and look at little Al as he gives it a shot again. This time he may have it, and he does. Little Al gets past Mario Andretti, picks up third place. Side. And look at this. Look at Rahal as he tries Andretti. Now, will Andretti allow that? Well, they come around the corner. They both push off a bit. Whoa!
My word. Now, Mario tried to do the same thing. Tried to keep the apex point. Tried to keep the line. But Rahal forced the issue. Mario had no road left, so he had to use the grass. And Rahal makes a fantastic pass.
Lower than the average he'd been running. And here comes Michael. Look at Michael cook the brakes as he gets wide. And Michael loses an advantage there. He misjudged the corner and got hot on the brakes. 1921 brings the Spirit of Akron, the name of that airship, piloted by Drew Marshall. Here over the lakeshore at Cleveland, and there is the battle for the lead as you see it from the blimp. And look at these two fighting.
Oh, this is Michael's going to go down the inside. Yes, he does have the move. He got down inside Emerson. Emerson had no choice. But now watch the run to the next 2 turns.
Look at Emerson right back to the front. Michael very effectively used Cousin John to create a little blocking maneuver for him. But look at Michael. Michael's coming back around Fittipaldi. And this is the section where Michael is faster. Now Michael is out to the front of the field, and Fittipaldi is in pursuit. John Andretti is staying right with him.
And what a display from Michael. And we've seen Al Jr. do that earlier on with Mario. Slides down the inside of the hairpin, but you got to slow the car down too much. Emerson got back inside, and then Michael does it again. Now, Michael is very fast through here, so he hopes to pull out a couple of car lengths. What a great maneuver to catch Emerson, to stalk him for so long.
Here is Michael Andretti. He talked about the trouble he was having. Whoa!
Oh, can you believe he got away with that? Puts the two outside. He's still in the gray right here. Look, he's about a full car width.
out of the... Oh, he almost hits the wall.
I'll tell you what, nifty piece of driving. That car was sliding over the marbles on the approach to the corner, and he actually was out of control for 2 full corners.
As done. We saw him off the road earlier.
Oh, and John Andretti. Yellow's come out. John Andretti's caught the wall.
Well, he's right on the racing line, too, so that will be a major problem. That could cause a full course yellow.
They display that yellow and red flag, which is a course condition flag. It tells you there is a slippery surface, and that's a pretty good wallop to the wall they caught there. Now the question is, there's John getting out, thank goodness.
Now this is the same wall that Rick Mears hit earlier on. We will be able to have a look at the replay. This is turn 8, coming off turn 8.
Let's see what happened here, Derek.
There's John. He's out in the gray, and then he just literally loses traction. Bang! Very hard into that outside wall. Tears both their left side suspensions off. But John Andretti looked as if he pushed out of the groove first, because when he gets into the gray, he has very little grip.
There's that broken and battered all VDS car, and the course marshals trying to tell everybody, please go to the outside of this thing. It is in a very precarious position on this course. As a pace car comes out, full course yellow, and so we will shut down again, slow the pace, and we'll be back for a very short sprint to the finish of this race. Off of the course, it was, as you saw, in a most precarious position. The kart safety team is right there. Lon Bromley leads that group, and they're going to get as much of the debris off, and then they'll have a wrecker come around, snatch the car off, and we may see as many as 3 laps of racing, perhaps more. Perhaps they'll get it done faster than we anticipate.
Right, but I know that frequently you wear protection on your lower legs or your shins. Do you have that today? And did you get pounded against the rack of the steering column and so forth?
I have to wear that all the time, because these Lolas are made for a very small Italian family called Andretti's, and anybody that's above 5'4", they don't really fit very well into them. But that wasn't the biggest problem.
We've got a problem. That's Bettenhausen
and Ted Prappus. Sorry, it's Jeff Andretti. Jeff Andretti in the Texaco Haviland car.
Jeff Andretti, 1 of 4, of course, starting here. The 16 car is Tony Bettenhausen, and the yellow flag comes out, and as we suggested earlier, when there's an incident, they will bring out a full course yellow. Even though this is a road course, they view that it's very much like an oval, distorted though it may be. So at the Meadowlands now, with just 3 laps complete, the yellow flag does come out because of this incident over here in turn 1 involving Tony Bettenhausen and Jeff Andretti. The twin yellow flags flying at the start-finish line.
But in 15th place.
And here's a chance to look at what may have happened there. They're behind Foy. Ooh, that could have been nasty. They came close, they touched wheels.
Well, we just mentioned how difficult it is.
Happened there. They're behind Foy. Ooh, that could have been nasty. They came close, they touched wheels.
Well, we just mentioned how difficult it is to make a pass here. Play here. Now look at Jeff Andretti goes down the inside of Tony Bettenhausen. I don't think Tony sees him. He squeezes down for the apex, then there's contact. Now look at Andretti right up over Bettenhausen's rear wheel, knocks the rear wing off. Now watch the impact Jeff Andretti has with the wall here. He strikes it extremely hard. Bang, right there.
Pretty much
Tony
airborne,
Bettenhausen, not much damage, only had a spin and lost that rear wing, but a lot of damage to Jeff Andretti's car.
And Tony Bettenhausen has stayed with the car. They hope to get that back into the fight. Jeff Andretti's car is, of course, very badly damaged. So we continue to run under yellow. We've run up to 6 laps now. The yellow flag is flowing for 3 of them. We'll be back with more.
The wall.
Well, you called him earlier. I hope it didn't cause this thing, as Prappus gets up against the wall over on turn 5 here at the Meadowlands. He climbs out of the car. He's okay, but that's going to be a terribly disappointed man. He's had some bad luck this year, and it's too bad. He's a very competent driver.
Another one of these teams, say no to drugs.
Pass at the Meadowlands. Those series of corners right there is where it's going to have to be done, because as you can see here, looking back from the Quaker State onboard camera, up, and Mario spins it and backs it into the wall. Some damage to the left rear.
Well, Mario trying so hard, gets it backwards into the wall. The rear wing is okay, it's fine, but I don't know how hard he hit with that left rear suspension. But of course the car, the engine is stalled. He has to wait for a kart safety vehicle to come out if he's going to restart that car.
And the yellow flag comes out again because Mario is in fact in a precarious position. Car's rolling pretty good, though. If you look at the wall, I don't see a smudge there. Maybe Mario gets it under power. Now, if he can get it around, get it back to the pits, a quick check from the crew, and he should be back in the action. Ooh, I wouldn't want to be sitting there. Yeah, he doesn't want to either.
He stalled it again. Had it running. Or doesn't it? Oh, no, reverse gear. Had trouble getting reverse gear. Now, this is an interesting thing. You have to have, it is a regulation in the kart rule book, you must have a reverse gear that does work on road courses. And we saw Mario there use that reverse. Luckily, he had it.
That's the reason why, because if you get caught out on a course, they want you to at least be able to get yourself out of trouble if at all possible. Here is Al Unser Jr. just a moment ago. Remember last year, Ari Lyons? Back at the Meadowlands Grand Prix, the Cosworth-powered Euro Motorsports machine of Mike Groff makes a pit stop. This is why he was involved in a situation with Tony Bettenhausen as they fought for the corner. And Groff was lapping Bettenhausen, and they touched, and that sent Groff out into a runoff area and Bettenhausen into the wall. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Mike Groff gets out underway. He came in, and the left front steering arm was bent. They changed all 4 tires. Then the crew jumped up and down on the left front steering arm and straightened it, so hopefully he'll be okay. Paul?
Well, not the kind of precision work one might want on the steering mechanism, but nevertheless it sends Mike Groff back into the fight in one of the best starts both for Groff and for the Euro Motorsports organization. Here's the situation again, Derek.
Now, he is inside Tony Bettenhausen when Tony turns in, and that's a very difficult maneuver to pull off. You really need to be up alongside the car you're trying to pass, because the other car has no place to go. So I'm not sure that Groff was quite alongside Tony Bettenhausen enough to make the move. But
and Rick Mears still trying to hold Rahal. Here comes Rahal again, swinging to the outside. Now to the inside. Boy, look at this from the Quaker State onboard camera. A drag race down the backside for the lead.
Rahal is on the inside. He's got the advantage this time.
Rahal now can force Rick Mears to come in behind a slightly slower moving car. And he does so, and Bobby Rahal takes the lead. In doing that, though, it costs time and distance. As we look back to Rick Mears, you see right behind him, Fittipaldi and Michael Andretti have closed up as well.
Great move by Rahal. That pass actually started way back in turn 1 when he went very wide under braking and actually gets the pass accomplished down in turn 2. A great move under braking for Emerson.
Fittipaldi, again the Quaker State onboard camera. Again Michael, and he gets around Fittipaldi.
Emerson.
After 3 minutes and 18 seconds in the pits, Scott Pruitt is back into the action, and Mario spins a second time today. Again, a most precarious position and some damage to the wing in the front of the car, especially to the right side, but the whole thing is twisted.
This again is at the bottom.
And Scott Brayton involved as well, perhaps?
Yeah. This is turn 2. This is where all the action's happening. Look at that left front wing of Mario's. Looks like he got down inside Brayton. There wasn't enough room. Forced the issue. Broke the machinery. Heads for the pits. I don't know. It's becoming a long day for Mario.
Of course, some of that is conjecture. Maybe we can get an idea when we look back at it. Here's what we have.
This is turn 1, the end of the back straight. Now, obviously, Mario probably tried to go down the inside of Scott Brayton. We don't have a good view of it, so we can only speculate on what happened. But Brayton was ahead. Mario was trying to make the pass.
Going, that may have been him that we just saw. Move to the inside, darting. I think he just wanted to let him know he was there. And look at Mario. Mario comes around Rahal, catches the inside, and gets past Rahal.
A great run down the inside, typical of what you see on these long straights. Got in behind Rahal's rear wing and down the inside under braking, takes the line away from Rahal. We're now inside with Rahal, and now he watches the rear of Mario's wing. I know he doesn't like that, but look at Mario as the car understeers through that long third gear right-hand turn.
It's an exhibition place in Toronto, currently occupied by Bobby Rahal, but Arie Luyendyk is right there trying to close. And here's Al Unser Jr. Boy, look at that maneuver. He slaps the brakes hard, but Derek, as you pointed out, it is awful tough to out-brake an Andretti.
Whoa, and I think he's hit the wall with a left side suspension. Al Unser Jr., yes, I think he did. He's in all sorts of trouble.
Very definitely. He tapped the wall coming off of that corner, and that got the left front, and that damage will spell the end of Al Unser Jr.'s day. That must be terribly frustrating for that young man. Already Shelley knows it because of the two-way radio connection with the car. He was just trying so hard. He thought he had Michael, The braking maneuver wasn't strong enough. Michael swept across his front end, but that got him in too deep, and the exit to the corner drove him out to the wall.
Got him in too deep, and the reason he couldn't stop is because he locked up that right front wheel. We will see it in replay, but Al Unser Jr. trying a very difficult maneuver to try and get inside Michael Andretti. We saw him try it earlier on, thought better of it, and now he ends up in the wall as a consequence.
You've seen Michael Andretti moving slowly. The reason for that is this double yellow flag, a full course yellow. So that will send out Johnny Rutherford in the PPG pace car as Al Unser Jr. climbs out of his machine on a day that he had really hoped for a great deal. He had a frustrating qualifying session, and then at the end of the last qualifying session, he suddenly jumped up with an excellent time. And so the day held much promise, but not now, as he tries to get to the front and can't get the job done. So
the right front is locked up. Now he cannot make the corner. Michael Andretti is still on his line, but look what happens here. Al Jr. misses the apex here. Now he drifts wide. He's wider, and watch what happens. The left front now clips the wall because he's too wide. Didn't quite see it there, but he actually clipped the wall with that left front suspension and breaks it.
Scott Pruitt with Judd Power in sixth, then Rick Mears, Eddie Cheever, John Andretti, and Mike Groff. Now the accident that has brought out this full course yellow after a hard braking maneuver. Watch the second car. That's Al Unser Jr., Derek.
Watch those left side wheels. Bang! Hits the wall on the left side, and Al Unser Jr. is out of the race.
So Al Unser Jr.'s car now taken off the course, but we still run under a full course. He meant that it had to complete a full lap with that problem. Now Gary Gerald is down there.
And Paul, we see the nose of Emerson Fittipaldi's car, and you can see he's shaking his head. He's now shut the engine down. He came in under full power. The visor comes up. Rick Reineman and the crew there, and everybody, frankly, is wondering what are we going to do. But the look in Emerson's eyes, from our viewpoint, says this is not encouraging. Fires the engine, continues to shake the head. It's killed again.
And Rick Mears has a problem. Rick Mears runs off the course. And boy, that is a lot of fluid at the back. It looks like he's had some sort of failure in the turbocharger, certainly in the engine compartment.
Oh, a lot of smoke coming out each side of the car. Oh, I tell you, that looks like a $25,000, $35,000 puke to me.
Boy, how quickly can disaster strike the Penske team? Here was Rick Mears just seconds ago. We were watching his teammate Emerson Fittipaldi in the pits. Now watch at the back of the car, see if we can tell. It just starts to display a little, and Mears drives it off the course on his own, so whatever it was, he saw it. Now, let's speculate a little bit. We have two problems. Both of them appear to be engine-related, almost simultaneous.
On the same lap. I don't think it's the same, because Emerson pulled in. When he turns the engine off, it's usually a sign that there's something electrical misfiring. You got to shut it down before they can get...
Danny Sullivan trying Eddie Cheever, and Sullivan gets past Cheever. So now Sullivan is up to sixth place. Danny Sullivan giving that car a pretty good ride. Alpha Power, they constantly work with that engine. Every race it gets just a little bit stronger. Working pretty good. Bobby Rahal. Whoop, John Andretti with a problem. And that gets him right on the edge of the racing line, a most precarious position. Can he get the car out of there? He's got to drop it back into reverse. Flags fly there, warning everyone coming behind. There goes Mario Andretti. Second place car passed.
I hope he can find reverse, Paul, because it's often very difficult to select reverse in these gearboxes. It's a difficult gear to find, and John can obviously not find it. Now the rescue people come to help him. Luckily, he has kept that engine running, because that could have caused the yellow that Pruitt is hoping for.
The reverse gear is heavily spring-loaded. You really have to push to get into it. Here's the situation. That's Tony Bentonhausen that he's maneuvering with.
Oh, look what happened here. He tries to get down the inside of Tony. Tony took his normal line. John was nowhere near close enough to make a pass. Locks up those rear brakes. That's what causes him to spin. And very lucky that he didn't get onto this tire barrier on the outside, because in the last qualifying session on Saturday, we had 8 cars crash. Most of them hit that tire wall on the
fuel pump on his car. And there's the green flag. So now we begin racing here at Mid-Ohio, and Rick Mears gets a jump on Michael. Can he hold it down into that tight turn?
Oh, Mears got a great jump on Michael, but Michael takes advantage of that inside down. Look at Mears kick the dust up.
Oh, Michael Andretti, then Rick Mears, then Bobby Rahal. Here's the rest of the field coming through. Because, by the way, that first lap was under yellow, and they did put it into the book because of the narrow fuel window. So Mears, as he cycles his way through the first turn, there's a car. That's the 21 machine off the edge. Didier Tays, the leader card machine, what looks to be a problem in the turbo or the engine.
Bit of a disaster for Didier Tays. Struggled all weekend here, qualified on the back of the grid almost 22nd fastest, but Didier Tays well and truly done when you see smoke like that coming out.
An opportunity to take a look at that situation happened a few laps ago while Little Al was moving his way through traffic.
Traffic is the big problem. Look at it. Boom. Oh, he hits him right on that right front and the left rear. It was actually Randy Lewis that he hits. Waves his fist. Hopes that there isn't too much damage done to that front suspension or the front wing. But Al Jr. lost a lot of time to Mario. Now he's made it up. That shows he's still at...
Jeff Andretti in the number 86 Texaco Haviland car. A little fire at the back end. Is that the turbo going away, or is it...
turbo ignited something. Looks like an oil line possibly, but definitely his day is done.
Nothing that puts him particularly in danger, though.
No, but the problem is, Paul, he can't see that fire, so he does not know the car's on fire. It could get considerably worse. Now, the worst thing you can do when the car's on fire is drive to the pits, but that's what he's thinking now. I've got to go to the pits.
Yeah, he's definitely caught a view of it in his rear view mirror, and we'll keep an eye on him. The other thing, what he perhaps should do is just pull off to a corner station where they have plenty of equipment available.
Exactly. That is the real trick. But now I'm not sure he knows the car's on fire. Oh, that car is well ablaze, well on fire under that engine cover.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's gotten much worse, and it looks like an oil fire. Could be a loose oil fitting or line.
That's right. When he slows the speed down, obviously it gets worse. When he knows. Yeah, he knows he's got to get out of there. He's probably driving straight to a fire marshal now. I hope so. Yep. There's one right there.
Right on top of the situation. The marshals run over.
Come on, over you go.
Just the fact that there's not a whole lot of...
That's just a practice run. Come on, get that baby going there.
In fact, he slowed down, actually took some air away from the fire. Look at the crowd. And here comes safety one of the kart safety team. And they've got some light water on the back of that truck, and they'll hose it down a little bit more. Part of the problem, too, look at that. He goes back and takes a seat. Jeff Andretti.
Relaxes for the afternoon. The worst thing you could do, actually, for a driver is sit in the car while they do put fire extinguisher foam on the flames, because it takes all the oxygen.
That's Lyondike. Goodyear, as Lyondike comes inside Brighton. Now, we hope Scott Goodyear knows that everybody else is there.
Oh, look at Rick slides down the inside under Goodyear.
And there is experience. Rick Mears saw that thing coming, knew exactly how it was going to play as they got into that carousel turn. And Rick Mears picks up the position on Goodyear.
Exactly right. Played the traffic so well, Paul, in that move.
But in the whole thing, Scott Goodyear probably learned something.
Yeah.
He's gone in 12.5 seconds on our clock. No fresh rubber. He has hot tires, and Fittipaldi is back on course.
And Rahal jumps out just in front of him. Rahal just in front of him, but the two are right together on the course, and the course condition is green flag racing. Now Fittipaldi's going to try Rahal. As he comes to the outside, Fittipaldi tries to dial across Rahal, and Fittipaldi takes him for the moment.
Rahal is on the cold tires, exactly what we said. Takes too much time to heat them up. That's the gamble we now know that Emerson were trying to play and pull off, and he actually pulled it off.
A critical corner. He surely has to change. He has to come alive, doesn't he?
Well, he really does. To give you an idea how close things get here, we might get a good close-up shot here of Arie Luyendijk's car. If you take a good look at the nose cone of the left front wing of that car, he has tire marks all over it. Look at those tire marks on Luyendijk, the front of his car. That's how close he has been during this event.
Probably under a braking maneuver where he's coming in the corner just a little bit harder. And you've only misjudged by, what, a half an inch?
Well, that's right. And remember, we also saw, oh, look at John Andretti. Tries to force the issue down the inside, doesn't get the job done.
Well, John Andretti and Arie Luyendijk continue their fight. Eddie Cheever is there as well, continuing an ongoing battle for 8th place. But John's got him set up now. He drafts him going through the fastest section of the course. Does he get position on him under braking? No, he still has to drop in. But will he come back and try to take the line away? He still remains back behind Luyendijk.
Defensive driving by Arie Luyendijk, very, very good. He made John Andretti go down the outside, which is the hardest possible way to try and make that pass. John didn't have enough room, couldn't get the job done, tucked back in, but he is strong. He will try again.
You know who may get an advantage that number 8 Target car, the third car in the lineup. That's Eddie Cheever. As those two play, Cheever's keeping an eye on it. He may be able to get past both of them if he plays his cards right. Look at Cheever. Locks the brakes up as he almost gets in the back of John Andretti.
Oh, on the dust and dirt, kicks up everything. Cheever uses the racetrack and the grass and the curving and everything. He scorched out of the pits earlier on, absolutely fuming. And now he's embroiled in this huge battle between Lyondike and John Andretti. There hasn't been much passing here this afternoon, but there has been tremendous battles all the way down through the field. Look at Cheever again.
Eddie Cheever forces himself down inside John. John slides off the course, locks him up. Let's hope he doesn't get to the barrier. He does, and he saves the car. This, by the way, is also a battle for 6th place in the point standings. Andretti was leading Ari by only 3 points coming into this run. That'll be costly.
Oh, I'm sure there was contact because those cars were very, very close as they turned down into the apex. Cheever had the inside, though, but I'm sure there was contact. Here we have it again in replay. Look at Cheever. He's now coming down the inside, takes the line. John turns in. Now, look, they're wheel to wheel. Wheel to wheel. Now, right, bang. See that? Right there. Contact between the cars. Cheever, in fact, goes wide, but John locks the brakes, gets off on the grass. Luckily, didn't get to the guardrail.
And it doesn't look like anything was bent on John Andretti's race car as he stays back in the fight. And we'll try to catch up now to a final quarter mile of the racetrack now. Sweeps around the carousel, on to the pit straight, and there Nick Finauro's checkered flag as Michael Andretti has won the Pioneer Electronics 200 and picked up the lead in the points. It's the first time Michael has led in the PPG point standing this year. And as they come across the line, you saw that Al Unser Jr. was able to lead Rick Mears in the battle for 5th place. Michael Andretti, Emerson Fittipaldi, Bobby Rahal, Scott Pruitt, and Al Unser Jr., the unofficial final standings. So long from Mid-Ohio. Control of the pole sitter, Bobby Rahal. You look back from Rahal's car as the acceleration up the hill begins. They were warned, start this race nice and even. And the green flag comes out as they get a good start. Flying down the hill toward the first turn as Al Unser Jr. moves in front of his teammate. But look at Michael Andretti move up into 2nd place. Michael Andretti drops into 2nd as they go through the first turn.
A tremendous start by Al Unser Jr., but further back, Mario Andretti went from the outside of the track right across the bows of everybody to the inside and picked up a nice 5th place.
A most interesting sterling effort. Let's hope he can continue that run. Remember, he won the very first race of the season, and no, he cannot. He's slowing on the circuit. John Andretti, and there you see a little bit more of that vapor. Very definitely on reduced power, if not totally shut off.
An absolutely decisive pass he made on Eddie Cheever, and how short a time he lasted in that position. Now, we do still hear the engine running. Yes, it's still running. Maybe he doesn't have any transmission. Maybe he doesn't have any gears.
Well, if the wisp of vapor we saw is actually at the back of the gearbox, that could very well be it. And the gears and the difference that it made for Fittipaldi. Danny Sullivan, Alpha Power, sits at the back of this group. Eddie Cheever, number 8 in front. Look at Rick Mears as he jumps on the brakes going down into Station 5. And Mears picks up the place. Mears moves into 7th.
Whoa, Mears came from a long, long way back under heavy braking into turn 5. I really didn't think he could chance something like that.
The pass for the lead. This is from Al Unser Jr.'s onboard as they came down in the woods heading for 5.
Down into turn 5. Now look the way he slides down. You hear that? Oh, one little correction there. Boy, Michael left the door open and he paid for it.
At the time we were chattering away about Willie T's rear wing, and Al Unser Jr. saw the opportunity, decided not to wait.
The right rear.
Here is how it happened in a very fast section of the circuit, Derek.
Let's see what happens here. He knows he cannot make 4 miles, so he goes straight on at turn 5, down through the little tire wall chicane here. Now that, unfortunately, will probably cost him a lap also.
Exactly. But he is able to work through here. In fact, there's a set of guards there to make sure he gets safely back to right at turn 13, and then he can come up the hill and get into the pit area, which is exactly what he did. But the climb up the hill, the tire itself, and then the change in the pits, very costly for Lyondike as he lined up just a second ago behind Scott Pruitt and using the slower car in front of them, Jeff Wood. And Arie Lyondike was able to overhaul Pruitt.
Looks like a horsepower advantage there. Lyondike got a nice run in behind Pruitt. Pulls out. Pruitt, of course, didn't make it difficult for him. Stayed on the wider line. So Lyondike picks up another position.
Something to consider. consider here.
Oh, this is a great fight. Look the way he draws up behind him.
Al Unser Jr. pulls alongside of Michael. A drag race down to the bottom of the hill. Michael has the line, though. But Michael can't hold it, and Al Unser Jr. forces his way into the lead of the race. As they climb the hill again, Michael looks for racing room to the inside. As Michael comes back to challenge Al Unser Jr.
Al Jr. pulls down to the middle of the road to block Michael, but what a great move by Al Jr. Michael tried everything he knew to try and stop him going around. I would have said that was a Michael-type move, because we saw that at Vancouver, but Al Jr. absolutely using the handling of this car to best effect.
Unbelievable pass on the outside.
I believe this happened. This is the other side. He blew the right rear tire earlier, and now we see an exact same situation for Mears.
Just in a half seconds as Michael Andretti starts the climb up the hill. This will be the Newman Haas team's chance and little Al's chance. Here's Gary Gerald.
We watch and we wait with the crew. They've got him in sight. Through the chicane, comes in a little bit slower, hits it. There's only 4 gallons available. The hoses are intact. We watch. Holy splash. And he likes those tires in down pit road. Will it be fast enough?
A little under 5 seconds. Al Unser Jr. is climbing the hill. Here comes Michael Andretti out of the pits. That's little Al coming right up behind him. But Michael Andretti for the moment has the lead. Michael Andretti continues the lead of the race as Al Unser Jr. falls in just behind. They make the stop on the 48th lap with just 2 laps to go. The Newman Haas team for the moment has kept his driver out in front.
And Al Unser Jr. knows he has a better...
On his way, Michael Andretti, the final corner as some rain begins to pick up over on the pit straight. He climbs the hill. Al Unser Jr. is well back, and Michael Andretti and the Newman Haas Lola has taken the win here at Road America, and with it the bonus point. Michael Andretti, the winner of the Texaco Haviland 200.
That was one of the hardest fought races we have seen all year. Great picture of Michael taking off that tear-off, but Michael Andretti did not.
But throughout this entire weekend, tomorrow he faces a championship battle. They begin to accelerate, and we have a green flag. We're racing in the Marlboro Challenge.
What a disastrous start. I can only say disastrous start by Michael Andretti. Caught napping, a most unusual situation for him. But look at Rick Mears.
Rick Mears jumps to the front. Michael Andretti gets caught to the inside as they cycle down on the bottom side of the course now. And look at Michael work that wheel as he tries to keep the back end from getting away from him.
Oh, he got inside Rahal. They were wheel to wheel here, but already look at Mears. 3 or 4, 7 car lengths ahead.
And Michael has his nemesis, Bobby Rahal, sitting right alongside of him. Emerson Fittipaldi, top of the hill, and Arie Luyendyk's in trouble. Arie Luyendyk apparently with a quick spin, but does he have the engine running?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. That's what he's asking for. Please come, give me a push, give me a push. Look at this. There's a motion from Luyendyk.
It being a road course, the track condition stays green, only yellow in this one little section as Rick Mears continues to lead. Here's a view. Now watch Arie Luyendyk, about the 6th car back in the order, as he tries to dart to the inside, Derek.
Now look, he's in the dirty part of the racetrack. Look at that dust being kicked up. Then he locks up those front wheels, and now it's all over. Long, lazy spin right to the back of the grid. But if they can get him running, and there was no yellow
between Rahal and Fittipaldi. You see Al Unser Jr. just behind there, and now Fittipaldi makes his move to the inside. Fittipaldi down alongside Rahal. He blocks him for position into the corner.
Got a great run out of turn 11. The hairpin went up the inside and really had the line into turn 2 before Rahal could even stop the challenge. So Fittipaldi on his way to John Andretti.
Gets him under braking in the very tough turn 11. And look at Cheevers. He throws it sideways in a desperate attempt to stay right with Mario.
I'm so surprised Mario pulled off that move. But look at
Cheever's going to do it again. Cheever tries to get inside Mario under braking, but Mario protects the corner and stays in place.
Great racing. This is what the Marlboro Challenge is all about. But Mario made a huge lunge down at turn 11. Did manage to get the pass made, but Cheever did.
Up the hill now. They make that left-hand turn and continue their climb. Almost 300 feet in elevation difference between the bottom of the course and up here at the top, and Michael Andretti is very definitely closing in. The blind corner just ahead. There's the corkscrew. Michael slaps it down the hill. He continues to try and catch Rick Mears. It's going to be very, very close. The crews look to see them come out from under this bridge, and there they see Rick Mears still has the lead, but Michael is still closing in. The Marlboro Challenge about to be decided in Laguna Seca, and for Rick Mears, 440
$45,000 if he can just hold on. He climbs on the pit straight. He's out of fuel. He slows down. Michael Andretti comes around him, and Michael Andretti on the last straightaway picks up the race, the checkered flag, and the lead. What could possibly have happened to Rick Mears? A missed gear, a faltered fuel, who knows what it is?
My word, give me a minute here to catch my breath and try and feel my heart here. I can't believe, look at the dejection on Roger Penske's face. I can only think it must have been a missed gear. Unbelievable finish.
If it were a $200,000 mistake for Rick Mears. I'm wondering what he's saying. Roger Penske has already taken off the radio communications. Now remember, in 1987, Bobby Rahal won the challenge, went on to a championship. Is that what Michael's thinking here? Chris Mears? Well, she can't believe it.
We said it earlier, Paul. It will be difficult for Michael to win this race unless Rick makes a mistake. I'm not saying he made a mistake, but he did do something. Something went wrong and handed it to Michael. I bet he can't believe his luck. Just watch what happens here.
Look again here. This is the last corner of the race.
Now, Rick actually accelerates. Then he slows. Look at Michael. Almost hits him. Those rear wheels slide sideways. Then Rick gets it back in gear. Look what happens. Leaves black streaks. I think it was a gearbox problem.
And it cost Rick Mears $255,000. How did it look to Michael? Let's remember, as he was coming down the hill, he's pretty well assuming that, well, he's going to go right on through and just win the race.
Now, Michael has got his gear chosen. Once he gets on the power, now Rick is stalled. Boom! Swerves out to the inside, misses him, and picks up an extra $105,000 in about, what, second and a half?
Oh, not long at all. Let's go down to the pits now, and Jan Beekes.
You guys were talking about what that might be. It looked like a missed gear. I checked with Richard Buck, the crew chief, and it was, in fact, that it stumbled for fuel. He got around turn 11. It stumbled for fuel. He didn't miss the gear, just a little bit short. One straightaway. Paul?
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because you'd hate to think that Rick would have to live with the idea that he missed a gear coming off of that corner. So Michael Andretti climbs out the winner, a very rich man here today. Here are the final results after the running of the Marlboro Challenge here at Laguna Seca. The championship's still on the line tomorrow.
Andretti, I'm sure this was the last thing you expected coming to the final turn on the final lap.
For sure. I mean, I was driving my heart out the whole time, but a little unfair for Rick. I mean, he deserved it. He drove a heck of a race. He was driving very tough, and but I guess when it's your day, it's your day.
It really kind of typifies the way this whole season has gone, and yet the big showdown for you is now 24 hours away.
Well, I hope and pray that we didn't use all our luck right here. You know, I just tomorrow, if we can just finish the race, I mean, it'd be a perfect weekend and perfect year for me.
It's a tremendous lift in terms of momentum for you and the whole team, but I know it's going to be probably a sleepless night.
It's going to be a long night, but this helps a little bit.
All right, congratulations. Let's go now to Jan Beekes. He's with the dejected Rick Mears.
Rick, what happened there, Rick, coming out of turn 11?
Just coughed, sorry for fuel right there at the last corner, and you know, no warning up to that point. It just hesitated for a split second, died, and by the time it caught and took off again, he was already by.
Thanks.
One of those days. Thank you.
Well, I'm not so sure I could be smiling in a moment like that. A $255,000 change of position in the last 300 feet of the race. Rick's dad is there to console him, say, kid, don't worry about it. Right, don't worry about it. Michael Andretti, once again, take a look at it as Michael Andretti, when Rick's car stutters, yanks it over to the left and comes past, picks up the lead with just a few hundred feet to go. The checkered flag under that bridge, and Michael Andretti wins the Marlboro Challenge.
I think we just saw a great event, and we just saw the most expensive half-gallon of fuel of the year.
Now there's the payout. Don't forget, here on ESPN tomorrow morning, it is the Formula One from Japan. And then, of course, tomorrow afternoon, the final IndyCar race of the season. Will this man, Michael Andretti, pick up his first IndyCar championship? 3 times he's finished in second place. We'll see you tomorrow. Paul Page for Derek Daly, Gary Gerald, and Jan Beekes will close the IndyCar season. It'll be a great race. turn onto the pit straight. The green flag in Nick Fenoro's hand lies just ahead. Already they begin to accelerate as they come off that final turn, and the green flag comes out. The final race of the season is underway at Laguna Seca. A battle for the race, a battle for the championship, and Michael Andretti shows his colors early as he jumps into the lead.
And Emerson slides into second place. Rick really did get caught napping on the outside of the front row and gave a huge advantage to Michael.
Already in the traffic, one car touches the end place. That is Arie Luyendyk with Paul Tracy driving the Penske car. Look at Paul. Paul tried him and tapped him, and he sends Arie Luyendyk off the course. Tracy stops as well. He tried to get under him in the second turn, couldn't do it. Tracy is under power, but he's got to be careful not to spin out, and he's quite careful enough.
Look, what's happened to Tracy, he's actually half off the road and half on the road, so the car is actually bottomed out in the middle, and the rear wheels do not have enough grip to drive. But Luyendyk, remember, he spun there
high-sided there, and if they can, it's going to be tough to get that car. It's 1,550 pounds when it doesn't have a driver in it. And look at Paul trying to help him out. He needs to be careful, though, because someone could get injured if they suddenly got that car pushed off but they're not making any way at all.
And if they push any harder, that rear wing might come off. Now, here's what happened. This is entering the braking area. Tracy tries to go down the inside, but he didn't get far enough down. And look at Luyendyk, takes his normal line, but Tracy doesn't have the line here. Goes with them. Oh, it's touch and go. Oh, Tracy sees what's going to happen. Locks up that front wheel, clips Luyendyk, and that's it. Quick spin, not too much damage, but we don't know what damage there is to that rear wing after those track marshals trying to push him back on.
Another look, the same situation.
Well, it's a risky move to make, Paul, to go down the inside there. You have to be very decisive, and Luyendyk didn't think he'd make it, didn't think he was down in there. Cars touch. Luyendyk, look at that, lucky to get away, but look at those clouds of dust.
You're right, too, as we look at it again, turn 5. It is a difficult place to try to get inside someone here. And a problem. Fittipaldi has a problem on that race car.
Yes, he is in trouble, running very, very slowly. Fittipaldi off the pace. That looks like his seatbelt.
Something flapping out of the car. It certainly does look like a belt. And of course, the belts are not just a safety factor, or is it the pad? It's his pad. That's what helps him stay upright, I would think.
Well, whatever it is, it's causing him a lot of discomfort. He sticks his arm out, grabs a hold of it, tries to pull it back in, but it looked as if it was actually, oh, look at this. Groff slides down the inside.
Mike Groff takes the opportunity on the slower Fittipaldi, as does everyone else. Fittipaldi, no doubt, will be heading for the pits. He's obviously on the radio right now to Chuck Sprague in his pit. There's his teammate just behind him as Rick Mears comes up alongside Fittipaldi, and Fittipaldi decides to go on past the pits, but he lets Rick Mears come to the inside. And they touch the two Penske cars together.
I don't think Emerson thought that Rick was down the inside. What a disaster for Fittipaldi. Slows down, loses all those positions, and then has no idea that his teammate Rick is right down the inside. Rick climbed the curbs. Chuck Sprague has the line, but Emerson doesn't see him in there. Now watch Rick, look, up over the curbs, and eventually touches and just nudges, hits him twice, pushes Emerson out of the way.
And of course, that run over the curb could be expensive for Rick as well, because it can damage suspension.
Here
One
it is
more
again.
time.
Okay, Mears takes the line. Emerson has no idea he's there. Rick locks the wheels, hits the curb, drills Emerson once, then drills him a second time.
And with the touch on the wheel, it takes the right front side plate down on Emerson, or on Rick Mears' car. Shouldn't have much of effect. There it is again. Boy, you seldom see that, two Penske cars together. And the situation that developed, look what's flapping on the side of the car there. That's Emerson's car a few laps ago.
And it's hooked onto something. It looks like the radio or part of his helmet or something is hooked on there.
Or is it a fluid container?
Now watch what he does here. He sticks his hand out. Look, he sticks his hand out, grabs it, pulls it back in. But, of course, steering one-handed, Paul, he has to slow down, and that's what gave everybody the opportunity. There's a great shot. He drags it back into the cockpit with him.
And what an incredible piece of driving while he climbs the hill. I think it may be his fluid container. He has a rubber tube that runs up into the helmet. Ready. The 11th and final turn, the last turn of the racing season. And as the new champion, Michael Andretti takes Nick Fenoro's checkered flag. He takes the season, he takes the race. Michael Andretti, with an incredible record-breaking year, wins the title now by 34 points in his 22nd career victory, which puts him 11th on the all-time list. And they're breaking out the champagne in the Michael Andretti pits. racing season is complete, and Michael Andretti is the champion.
And everybody there deserves every handshake. Oh, look at the timing and scoring he even gets to share. But they deserve every accolade. We see Kenny there, their tire man. They deserve everything. They've done a super.
He follows his father. Michael has captured, after 3 times finishing second, his first of his 3 life's goals. The PPG Cup is his. He is, in fact, the champion. The 2 other challenges still await this man, Michael Andretti. A Formula One title like his father's. That change could come in 1993. And, of course, the Indianapolis 500. A title that has been so elusive for the Andretti name. For now, though, Michael Andretti is happy. He is the champ for a green flag. And with Nick Finoro, the starter, looking at the field as they come down, he gives them the green. And the 1992 IndyCar season is underway with a drag race. Michael Andretti leading Al Unser Jr. into the first corner. Rick Mears drops into the 3rd place. The field safely through the first turns. Now Al Unser Jr. gives Michael some pursuit. That's Bobby Rahal in 4th, and Mario Andretti running in 5th. Nice clean start. Rick Mears is in 6th place. Now for the first time, they turn onto the Esplanade, the roadway that runs right alongside the beach. The Pacific Ocean is only a couple of 100 yards over to their right. As the battle for the lead is underway.
Looks like Al.
And Danny Sullivan. Excuse me, Gary Gerald, but Danny Sullivan lost it, got it sideways. Here comes Mario Andretti right up on top of Sullivan. Sullivan was running in 4th place, and so as Mario came up, it became a battle for position. Yellow flags came out, and Danny Sullivan was able to keep it going, but Mario was able to inch his way past. Now, perhaps we can go back to pit side once again. I'm sorry for the interruption, Gary Gerald.
Tom, we apologize for the interruption. Tell us again what happened with Eddie.
Gary, right.
And there is where Michael picked up his hat.
Well, it looks like it might have came out of the pace car, so some dolly in the pace car is not a real good friend of Michael at this point.
Or, if it's working for Al Unser Jr., maybe it's going to help Michael. They both have hats now attached to the left front nose wings of the car. Tony Bettenhausen makes what appears to be a routine stop under this full course yellow, the first of the season. There are the 2 hats.
Looks like the one on Michael's car was autographed by his dad, Mario, somewhere along the line. A little understeer, and they're trying to correct that to make it a little bit quicker in the last segment.
And Rick Mears tries to make it to the pits, but he overshoots. Now he's going to try to find reverse. He gets it. Backs out of the runoff road. And Roger Penske's watching this on television, and Rick's going to hate that.
Well, it's just, small mistakes lead to big problems. We're going to change the tires, so look at the rain in the back.
Over on the other side, this is on the Esplanade, and Tony Bettenhausen now must tiptoe. Jan Beekes.
We're here, and Rick Mears just pulled also Emerson Fittipaldi. They are going for rain tires. It's not actually raining right here, but it is on other parts of the circuit. When the track is dry, they have to be very, very careful with these rain tires. So he has to be careful not to light it up too much. There he goes, smoking those tires. He's got to be careful unless it's really wet.
There's Vassar with a problem, as look at the rain coming down on the backside. The 30 car belongs to Fabrizio Barbazza, and Bobby Rahal, still running on slicks, has really cut the speed down. And the yellow flags come out all around the course. They will put the pace car out and will slow this race behind the pace car. Boy, look at that. Shades, what was the Indianapolis 500 when Bobby Unser won it last?
Yeah, but at that point, the race was...
Mario and Al Unser Jr. tiptoe around, while Rick now has his rain tires.
Probably
but the yellows are out. Wait, what's Rick up to here?
I don't know. It looks like a couple of them are still racing. They're not sure that it's a full course yellow possibly at this point, but this is the toughest condition when half the track is dry and half of it's this wet.
I guess you could argue as there is Praffis with a quick spin right in the straightaway, probably as he was upshifting. And there is Buddy Lazier. They tiptoe their way around this track. Full course yellow. Rick Mears appeared to go around some cars under the yellow, and it is raining all around the circuit here at Surfers Paradise. So 2 challenges here for Rick Mears. Part of the course is partially dry. Part of it is very wet. The green flag comes out, and we are in a sprint race to the finish under most strange conditions.
Rick got a tremendous jump on the field. This will help him with such few laps left in the race, Paul.
Line off of the corner as he searches for traction.
Yeah, exceptionally different lines getting off. Little Al's trying anything he can, but to get off line, he's in the wetter area, but he's got to run it, Danny, here.
Boy, he takes a strong run, locks the brakes up going down into the corner, and makes the pass. Boy, you talk about daring.
Yeah, that's a good effort. You know, you just don't know if it's going to stop or not. You got to be so gentle with the brake pedal. If you just lock a tire up for an inch closed right here, good move. You can see the vision for Al wasn't very good as he pulled out from behind, but he gets back. He gets back into the dry area pretty quick, and that might have saved him.
So Al Unser Jr.
So little Al isn't closing that gap as fast as most people thought he might.
And Eddie Cheever tries the leader of the race, Rick Mears, and Rick very wisely pulls way offline. Apparently, he is well aware of Cheever's position on the racetrack, but Eddie Cheever's driving like he has just taken the lead. Well, little as Fittipaldi mounts a challenge on Al Unser Jr. He's alongside. Can he hold the line? He does. The Penske cars run first and second.
That's a great move by Emo. Again, he got a little run off the corner and was able out braking, getting into the corner, and just a good move by that Penske car.
Now, with Emerson Fittipaldi up to protect the position, Rick Mears lights it up and goes around Eddie Cheever as Roger Penske keeps an eye on both of his cars on the circuit. Hold off a challenge from his own teammate. It's a situation I suspect the two of them love.
Well, here comes Emo on the inside.
Fittipaldi
he locks
tries
it
to
up.
grab the line, locked him up, gets in ahead of Rick Mears. Fittipaldi has the lead, but can he hold on to it? Rick Mears is right there and challenging again.
A great move by Emo. They both had to lock him up a couple times to try to be the question. Maybe Rick's tires are going to last just that little bit longer.
And Fittipaldi comes off the course, cuts across one of the chicane gravel pits, maintains the lead.
That's what you call getting away with one, Paul.
Now, how do they interpret that? They did say, Tom Steva, that if you improved your position or your time by cutting across a chicane, that they would penalize you. He didn't improve his position. Probably leave it alone, right?
Yeah, I would think so. He locks them up, and when you lock up the front tires, you just can't turn the car. Exactly what happened. He got through it pretty smooth, though, and I think he's going to get away with one.
Look at Fittipaldi as he works around a slower car, Barbaza.
This is probably some of the
1992 season. The final turn complete, and Emerson Fittipaldi now sees the twin checkered flags, and Emerson Fittipaldi has won as Rick Mears streams across the line in second.
As a spectator in the stands, and we have a surprise as Michael Andretti has pulled off of the line of the course and down into the track, into his pit area. Let's go to Jack.
And, Paul, this is not good news. He radioed in after the engine started that it was only firing on 7 cylinders. So the crew has removed the bonnet. Obviously, they are extremely disappointed. They have yet to even take the green flag. They're going to have to go to work on this Ford Cosworth XB.
Michael Andretti with a remarkable accomplishment. That is last year's Lola that he opted to drive here. It has the new Ford Cosworth XB in it. And he thought that this would be a very dependable combination. It certainly was in qualifying.
This could easily be a foul spark plug, Paul. Often they have to warm the engines in the morning. They're not allowed to go around the racetrack with them. So there could be a change of a spark plug. Maybe they'll get back in before.
Other car with a problem, that's Hiro Matsushita, as he's off the edge of the course. And that brings up the question, will they go green then on this lap as scheduled? If the car is in peril, they can't safely go green, and that might play him to the hands of Michael Andretti. And it appears that's exactly what's going to happen. They are going to hold for yet another lap while they get Matsushita off the race course. And in doing so, that gives a little more time to Michael.
Yes, it does. It's an advantage for Michael.
Conclusion of this lap as they work their way on the backside of this D-shaped 1-mile track in Phoenix.
And you can bet that every driver in this field is changing his game plan slightly because the fastest man is now out of the race. At least he's not going to be able to take the start, and that's going to change everybody's idea of how hard to run hard soon.
And of course, one of the cars to watch on the start will be that of Rick Mears
as he starts back for the first time in a very long time on a mile oval and will have to thread his way up through the field. And Nick Finoro, the starter, says no good. I won't accept this start. Gives them the yellow flag, and they will have to slow down once again. Again, advantage goes to Michael Andretti.
Yes, and you know, Bobby Rahal came down for the start and he jumped out quite a bit in the lead, but you really can't blame Bobby. He has nobody to run against. He can't drive by the cars in the back. He's in a row all by himself up front. He would probably rather have
time. We do, and they're underway in the Valvoline 200 at Phoenix as Bobby Rahal screams into the lead. Rahal with a nice jump on the start there.
Making an exciting outside pass on Paul Tracy.
Boy, John Andretti with a terrific maneuver. That's Paul Tracy, the 7 car, down to the inside. 3rd car in the Penske team. And now his teammate Rick Mears comes up to overhaul him. If Paul is smart, he'll just play it very careful, and he is there as he comes way off the line and lets these other cars through. The car slowing down was number 14, A.J. Foyt's car, driven by George Snyder. And car number 1, Michael Andretti, is underway on the 3rd lap. So he has a good 3 miles by the time he gets up to speed, more than that to make up.
Michael, hardest oval track races I've ever seen, and he used good judgment in sucking out at the last second, Paul.
Correct, with an unusual approach on that corner, just a side deal. He continues to challenge Mario now, and now they have slower traffic to help out.
Now he's got to be really careful. Passing on the outside of Phoenix is very tough. Right, you can see how Mario can just keep moving over and get Rick squeezed out into the wall. Right here.
Well, look at this as Rick cycles around the outside of Mario.
Off of turn 2. It's about the only place you can really do it here at Phoenix, Paul.
And number 18. And we are back to racing as once again Bobby Rahal figured it out and really stood on the gas, and that put the Penske team, Emerson Fittipaldi and Rick Mears, in direct confrontation. And Mears was able to come around Fittipaldi, and now Mears runs in 2nd place. So he's carved his way up through the field.
Now you notice Rick did the same thing. Right?
Ready? And John Andretti has radioed into his crew that occasionally the car is bottoming. That means that it's not riding as high above the ground as they would like. Look at, they split. Hiro Mashusta, and Tracy sees the opportunity, and Tracy moves into 5th place, passing John Andretti.
Well, that's a deal where you really hope the guy in the middle doesn't.
The back end of Bobby Rahal's car, and he moves past Rahal, but Rahal answers the challenge as Rick gets bottled up. Rahal back to the front of the field. Very dangerous racing when they're in close quarters like that.
Now you see Bobby Rahal right there. There's Mario Andretti right alongside of him. And the reason Rahal was leading the race and now he's back kind of in the middle of the pack was because he came in at a lap late. A lap later than the other guys. Really good.
How much Rahal thinks about the Andrettis.
Across the line, 4 abreast as Rahal gets answers for journalist questions. He's also pretty expressive on the racetrack. This was a few laps ago when he was trying to get around Paul Tracy.
Well, of course, he feels that Tracy is a rookie here, and that's true. Tracy is having his first race at Phoenix.
And there goes Rick Mears past Jeever and picks up. Begins to slow down. Mario Andretti just shut it down, coming down the front stretch.
All right, this is the first failure in a Ford car. We don't know that it's a failure of the Ford engine, of course.
Now, that was a good sportsmanship thing that Mario did. He physically, instead of staying on the track, pulled off.
Now, take a look at that. That's the new Lola. Look how low the back end of that car can be, and that's because of that new Ford Cosworth XP engine. It can be so much smaller, they just slim up the back end of the car. Taken out of the pits, routine stop for him. And look at Rick Mears as he continues to fight for 2nd place with Cheever, and Rick goes back into 2nd as they split, moving around the 19 car. 2nd place, Emerson Fittipaldi and Gary.
Boy, he locked it up and he slid through the pit box. Now the engine has died. They've had to back the car up so that the fueling hose can be coupled. They're trying to get it refired as they change the rubber. Now they still haven't got the starter over the wall. This is a disastrous stop for Emerson Fittipaldi, Paul.
You got a glimpse of Scott Brayton, who had a quick spin. That brings out the yellow while the leader, Bobby Rahal, is in the pits. Jack.
A normal run-of-the-mill pit stop for Bobby Rahal. He paused for approximately 1.2 seconds longer than he would have had to, simply to take on all the fuel that they could get.
Look at the driver's summary first, and here's the situation. You're on board with Scott just a couple of laps ago.
Down into turn 1. Coming out of turn 1.
Oh, got high. Whoa.
Well, he locked him up, but he did not stall it. Look at that.
But it's amazing. See how far he went? Completely through turn 2, spinning. Didn't hit anything. Got to be the luckiest guy of the day.
He did a nice job, though.
Rick Mears very slowly coming down in the pits, Gary Gerald.
Great concern here. The engine is running, but it's misfiring. Now he gets it, blipping it, and it's shut off, and they think it may be an electrical problem. Richard Buck and the crew quickly pulling the cowling off. They're going to go in there and try to change the electronics.
All right, so Rick Mears now with a non-routine and a very long stop. We are still under yellow. 170 miles are complete. It comes out once again. Bobby Rahal now being chased by Eddie Cheever. But Cheever is well back. Rahal leading this race, and we've got trouble. 2 cars against the wall. That's Scott Pruitt down low, and Jim Vassar up against the wall. Pruitt is still under power.
Pruitt's going to keep his going. He's going to circle back around. Paul, that was a good, ingenious thing he did.
Boy, great piece of driving. Here it is again. As watch Jim Vassar, the number 47 car, mostly white. The right corner of your screen. Here he comes. He's already sideways, about halfway through the corner. And Pruitt spins the car to keep from getting into Vassar. Boy, there's a brilliant piece of driving.
Pruitt did really a good job. He was so close to being involved into a serious wreck. Look at him go in between. Now, that's luck right there. But he kept the engine running, and he had some smarts to go ahead and make a 360 and come around.
And also, by doing that, he turned for the asphalt, which helped him get back on the track. Well, there's Jim Vassar's car. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
And we're watching the crew, Paul, as they're concerned, obviously wanting to know what the situation is.
From Scott Pruitt's point of view with his onboard camera. Here he is on the main stretch, makes that turn down into turn 1.
And that's Vassar right in front of him there in the white car. There's Vassar losing it. Oh, boy, was that a good move by Pruitt, because instinctively another lesser driver might have tried to go around the outside of Vassar. Pruitt went down under him instead, and it worked out.
And it wasn't just that. You saw that as he pitched it around, he knew he had to do that to scrub the speed off. He checked his left side, saw another car there, recorrected forward, let that car come past, and then took it all the way down.
Look at those other cars that were going by on his left. Now, he was really hot.
He was lucky. Yeah. This is just really incredible.
Vassar's right in front, right there. He got sideways.
Boy.
Now he shoots right across, hits the wall. Look at Scott. Now look at the cars go by. The Marlboro car, Bobby Rahal. Look at him going by.
Yeah.
Now he's on the grass. Now remember, the turning radius of these cars is not sharp enough to have turned to the right and go around without running in the cement wall. He turns to the left, which he's doing there, goes completely around. Good thinking all the way.
Boy, give him the move of the year thus far. That was a brilliant piece of avoidance. Scott Pruitt, nice piece of driving.
That's where experience really tells, and intelligence, because right at that split second right there, instinct would have made him go right to try to get around Vassar, but he knew it was smarter to go left.
All right, the Rick Mears situation. Gary Gerald?
Paul, there.
Cheever, his driver, but Chip is a full 22 seconds behind as the white flag comes out for Bobby Rahal. And Bobby Rahal is about to go into the records book with a flag-to-flag win in the Valvoline 200, his 21st career win, and the first win for his brand-new team. Chip Ganassi's car with Eddie Cheever at the wheel will finish in second place, the first time he's been in the top 5 on an oval. Carl Hogan, well, he's done it. Rahal takes a 1-point lead over Fittipaldi now in PPG standings. Ready to go racing, already rolling on the circuit, heading for the final corner on now what is a shortened circuit, only 7 turns, 1.59 miles around. That's Michael Andretti that has the pole, and Danny Sullivan outside the front row, with Scott Pruitt and Al Unser Jr. in the second row. The green flag comes out, and we're racing in Southern California as they scream down Shoreline Boulevard and head for the very first turn. It's Michael Andretti still in front. Scott Pruitt and Al Unser Jr. come up to challenge. And Danny Sullivan drops back.
Already a substantial move by Al Unser Jr., who has won the last 4 races here. He's now running second.
Danny Sullivan, who started on the front row, moved backwards on the rest of the field, strings through. You may notice there are 4 turns missing there as they come up to battle for the lead. It's a straight shot down Seaside now, and one car ran straight off on Seaside. One car straight off the end of the circuit. Yellow flags fly in that corner. And it's Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti into the tire barrier. It looks as if he is all right, though. The rest of the field now answering yellow flags all corner. And Mario brushes the inside wall.
Brushed the inside wall, shot him out straight. He couldn't turn back then.
And Eddie Cheever's on-board camera view looking backwards as Mario touched him coming to the inside.
Boy, that was close. It's wonder wasn't the worst than that. But Paul, those tire barriers are just like running into a balloon. That really saved Mario a lot of problems.
He has damaged Cheever's car, so that's going to be at least 2 men out of the race. Mario had qualified 7th. You see his crew.
This time, they know no more than what they've just gotten a glimpse of on one of the large screens, but it appears that Mario's day is going to be complete.
Able to bring his Target Racing team entry from the Chip Ganassi stable back to the pits, but you're out for the day.
Yeah, I got hit so hard behind. I'm just glad Mario didn't hurt himself. I mean, he went by me 50 miles an hour too quick, and he hit the back of my car, and he lifted up in the air, and he was going straight for the wall. He's very lucky he went down the pit road and not into the wall, because, I mean, I don't know what happened. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's very unfortunate for him and for me. I mean, this is an important race.
Very important, considering the fact, Paul, that he finished 2nd last week on the oval.
Exactly. Eddie Cheever was without question on
that walk back. And Mario, can you tell us what happened on this terrible start for this day for you?
Well, I just have to look at the tapes, but I was setting up Eddie Cheever on the inside, and he was sort of holding the middle line, and I was trying to just edge up on him to see if I could get the corner, and all of a sudden, and I was right up to his right rear wheel, and he just weaved right over and knocked my left front wheel off, and at that point, obviously, I lost the brake line and everything, and I just went straight in.
And you are okay now? No injuries?
No, I'm okay, thanks.
All right, thank you, Mario. He makes that continued walk back toward the pit in his crew, Paul.
And of course, now you've seen the onboard camera view from a camera mounted under the roll bar hoop on Eddie Cheever's car.
That is 2 out of 3 of the Ford engines now out of this race.
So I think that he headed down into the very first corner, which is a hard right-hander, passing under the Texaco Bridge just ahead, downshifting, and suddenly, and the car head-on into the tire barrier at the end. Now, looking at it again, apparently what happened was the front brakes failed on the car, because if you watch that front tire, it never stopped rolling. Scott brushed it into the wall, got it pointed back straight, and wisely took the tire barrier right straight on, which is the safest way to take it.
And of course, the important thing is to understand that Scott Pruitt sustained terrible injuries to his legs 2 years ago in an accident where the brakes failed. So it was a real nightmare for him what happened here.
But as you can see, he's 3rd in the lineup now. That's the backup car, and we are ready to go racing once again. They have the situation over on the Seaside straight cleared up. Mario Andretti's car out of the way, and we're back running again as Michael Andretti leads. Al Unser Jr. down into the corner. Little Al pokes his nose inside. Danny Sullivan, in the meantime, climbs all over the back end of Scott Pruitt's car. It's a battle for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Bobby Rahal comes, and Al Unser Jr. comes to the inside as Michael locks him up for just a second.
That just shows you how hard Michael is trying, Paul.
And look at Sullivan and Pruitt as Sullivan ducks under Pruitt.
Well, they almost got together there, but it shows you how hard and how important passing is early in the race, because the guys are really trying hard.
It is very important.
And variety of John Deere. For example, the air-conditioned John Deere 8760 will plow the average garden in just 4.5 seconds. And there's also the John Deere 285. While it lacks air conditioning, it does take less space. For your lawn, there's the Maximizer Combine at around $100,000. But you and your neighbors might prefer the STX for less than $2,000. For landscaping, almost any one of our lawn and garden tractors will do just fine. Or of equal quality, there's the John Deere 892 excavator. It can not only transplant rhododendrons, but even move your neighbor's car if he parks in your driveway. So whatever your lawn and garden needs, be sure to see your John Deere dealer. He'll get you just the right equipment for whatever job you need to do. That is, if he can.
Michael Andretti continues to lead in the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, but for John Andretti. There is a serious problem. Gary Gerould is right there in his pits.
Yes, indeed, Paul. We're at the back of the car. They're working with the gearbox. They've had to remove the rear wing. We understand that he's lost 5th and 6th gears, so they're trying to get access to the gearbox to see if they can free up the linkage and get him back in, but it's going to be a long, tough fight. It's hot back underneath there, and if they get him out, he's already lost a great deal of time.
This has been a long, tough week, in fact, for that team, the Hall VDS team, the VDS standing
to the car. Why are these street circuits so tough on gearboxes, John?
Well,
you all right?
You just had a sign come falling down on top of your head. Are you okay?
It's just been one of those kinds of days, I'll tell you. Fortunately for us, we got the Pennzoil car running pretty good, and unfortunately for us, we haven't had a gearbox problem since testing, and the guys have done a great job, but just when you least want it, it happens. And I took out our primary gearbox at Phoenix when I got in the wall, and this one still needs a little bit of massaging.
Jim Russell Driving School. Last year, Nelson was competing as a celebrity. This year, he entered the race as a professional. But in the race, the coach enrolled in the School of Hard Knocks, finding out that competition was as tough on the racetrack as it is up to second place as a result of the pit crew.
Just to reiterate, these are teammates, and it'll be interesting to see whether Al Unser Jr., who had been running stronger than Sullivan earlier, will be let by Sullivan. Sullivan is having a
serious problem. 2 cars, one Marcello, the other Eric Bachelard, both in a runoff area. There is some debris there, so one would have to assume contact, but we'll wait for an official report.
That looks like a lot of paper laying on the ground, Paul. They probably had some contact because it's too strange for both of them to be there at the same time.
Well, Marcello's car is totally empty.
It don't look, well, I think that's there from before, and I think Bachelor got there just now.
So now emergency vehicles out on the course, the double yellow flags at the start-finish line. They should send the pace car out during his pit stop as Scott Goodyear came in. Now watch as he comes out. See that time at all. Danny Sullivan charges alongside of Michael Andretti. It's a fight for the lead. Al Unser Jr. is right there. You could throw a blanket over the front 3 cars.
And just so everybody knows, when these guys come in for the pit stop, they always get minor adjustments made.
Oh, look at Danny. As Danny darts down inside of Michael, has some problem. And now Al Unser Jr. comes around. Michael is suddenly back rolling at speed. What could it be, a missed gear?
He definitely has some problems, and he probably has a little bit of engine getting started problem. In other words,
and the fight continues for the lead as Al Unser Jr. now comes inside of Danny Sullivan. And Al Unser Jr. will be the leader of the race. So just in the space of 1 lap, the lead has changed twice.
Looks like a vulture finding fresh meat as soon as something happened to Michael right there.
Whatever happened to Michael might still be affecting him as he appears to turn 3. Michael slows completely, and the rest of the field cycles past.
He's trying to get out of the way. He's really being a good sport about this because he realizes he's a lame duck and he doesn't want to mess all the other guys up. He just about had a wreck up in the front just a little bit ago.
That'll be a lot of radio communication with this pit as Carl Haas and his crew are watching what's happening, Gary Gerould.
Indeed they are, and it is gearbox problem. So another Andretti. First it was John with the gearbox. Now it's Michael, and the tough luck that plagued him in the season opener Australia. Then it
came up. Michael just suddenly missed a gear going into the coming off in the second corner, going into 3, and of course Danny Sullivan was right there.
Michael Andretti, of course, is the defending PPG IndyCar champion, and yet he has not finished any of the first 3 races.
Very often when a gearbox breaks and the guys are that slow or that close together, Paul, there's a wreck, there's contact. That time it was just short of a miracle that there wasn't any contact.
This was the situation from Michael's point of view. Through turn 1, here's where the problem happened, and Michael yanked it over, didn't exit normally, trying to find some room, then suddenly it chugged forward, and by then Danny Sullivan was climbing.
Watch how quickly he looks in the rearview mirror, though, because he knows that he's going to slow and that people are right behind him. He tries to stay out of the way, and you see he does as Danny squeezes by.
And he's geared for racing, and then all of a sudden it's get out of the way.
And you have to change your mind in a hurry, don't you?
On board Al Unser Jr.'s car, the same situation. See Danny Sullivan just ahead and then Michael in front of him.
Now, little Al's got the best advantage out of the 3 cars because he watches what happens to Michael, what Ray Hall does, and he makes his plans accordingly. And, of course, he came out leading the thing.
At this point, little Al can see that there's something wrong. He darts to the left, tries to find room there, then comes down to the inside. and he too is past Michael Andretti. So a substantial change here. Problem in the gearbox taking him out of the race. Don't forget though, last year after 3 races, Michael Andretti trailed in the PPG standings by 34 points and still came back to his great championship. Let's go down to the pits and Gary.
Yep, he stayed in the cockpit as they rolled it all the way back into the paddock area. We've seen 3 cars come out of this race with gearbox problems. Michael, what is it about these street circuits that make it so tough on the gearbox?
Well, you're always in the low gear, putting a lot of torque through, you know, the whole drivetrain, and when you do that, you know, you put a lot of strain and things break. But you know, the biggest problem was we didn't have enough miles of testing on this. It may have broke testing if we would have had more miles with this new car, but we didn't.
3 consecutive races with bitter disappointment now, but then I remember last year that's the way that season started and you won a championship.
Yeah, but at least we had a...
Pressure is on as we've got a car off, and that's Scott Goodyear. Quick little spin, kicked the clutch in, kept the engine going, and stays in the fight. Scott Goodyear was running in 6th, and it looked like he may have been able to hold on to that position.
It's the brakes. You know, that's at the end of the long front straightaway, and brakes get awfully hot here at Long Beach. There's Scott. He went in too much rear brake on the car. He just locked up and spun around.
He did a nice job, don't you think, Bobby?
Yes, he did, Sam. And very similar to maybe what happened to Scott front. Of course, Scott didn't have any front brakes as we saw.
Here he put the clutch in because these cars don't have starters, and if you stall them, you're done for.
Well, it takes a smart driver.
And here comes Bobby Rahal. Al Unser Jr. off of the last corner as Danny Sullivan kicks the throttle and roars out of the pits. Can Danny maintain the lead with Little Al on the charge? Little Al streaming down toward the first turn now. They'll join right down there at the end of the straightaway. Here is Sullivan maneuvering into the corner. Here is Al Unser Jr. coming right in behind him. So the battle is on. The pit crews did their job. The final stops are complete, and Danny Sullivan is still in front.
Now that shows
a little bit away. Still Al Unser Jr. now as they come to peak RPMs. Approaching 13,000 RPMs, closes in, and Little Al comes to the inside, and Al Unser Jr. picks the lead up again from Danny Sullivan.
As I've said many times, Paul, there isn't anybody that can drive into a turn from high speed as deep as Little Al can. He knew that. I could watch.
At the race driver school, they'll tell you do all your braking before you do all your turning. I guarantee you that didn't happen here. And Little Al was modulating those brakes as he turned in, made a little move to the outside, and then swept right down inside of Danny Sullivan. So now
4 laps left, and look at these cars. They're virtually running just about the same speed, Paul. Look at that.
Danny Sullivan taking advantage of the traffic, comes inside Little Al. Little Al touches him. Little Al spins it. The 2 teammates get together. Little Al now tries to get the engine back under power. He tries to roll forward. The radio report, no doubt, will be coming to this man, Rick Gallis, as Little Al tries to come around. But there's very little time left. Danny Sullivan is out in front. Rahal is second. Fittipaldi is third.
And it's pretty clear that it was Danny Sullivan who touched Little Al's rear wheel there. So this is going to lead to recriminations within the team and a possibility for Rahal at the last minute.
And remember, the cars, Little Al was so long getting going because the turning radius on all these Indy cars just isn't very sharp. Not sharp enough for him to have gotten out of that little blockage that he was in there.
How devastating to come this close to his 5th victory here and have it taken away so savagely right at the last minute.
And Danny Sullivan, facing the checkered flag, has taken the win for the Gallis-Traco team. Danny Sullivan. So Danny Sullivan takes the win. This was the decisive moment as Sullivan came down the inside. Now watch carefully. He's alongside Little Al. Little Al turned right across the front. Little Al still owned the racetrack at that point. Tapped the left front wing on Danny Sullivan's car, and Little Al's car got loose. He spun it, fell back to 4th place. Little Al's view, the same situation. Again, heading for that sharp right-hander at the end of Seaside. Now he's on the brakes. Danny Sullivan is coming to the inside. Little Al turns into the corner, and they touch. And the race is effectively over at that point. And Al Unser Jr.'s dream of 5 consecutive wins at this track ends as he slides to a stop just inches from the barrier. Across the line in second, Bobby Rahal, who made a valiant try in the last laps. Emerson Fittipaldi in third. Little Al in 4th place. Scott Goodyear came by in 5th. And Rick Mears stayed with it all day and came by in 6th. So Al Unser Jr. takes the win in the Toyota, or takes 4th in the Toyota Grand Prix as Danny Sullivan wins it. Well, we're running overtime here in the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. We're not going to have a chance to really talk to Danny Sullivan, who wins here. And we set the stage now for the Indianapolis 500-mile race as we look at the unofficial final results with a great finish for both Jim Vassar and Eric Bachelard. Next, with ABC Sports, we'll be on to the run for the pole at the Indianapolis 500. And then, of course, the race itself has our coverage of motors.
And they do everything they can to help. For the most part, they are unpaid, for the majority part. So we're certainly concerned about that. We'll keep track of it. And Michael Andretti comes into the pits, but locks it up and loses it as he comes into his pit. He's sideways. It sounds like the engine has died as well.
The engine has died. I'm not really sure what happened.
Rahal came in right behind him. They both lost it. So suddenly a whole series of events here on lap number 17. Michael coming into the pits. They're going to try to get him around, get it restarted. They already have a jack under the back end of Michael's car so they can turn it. Rahal tries to get his car into his pit as well. His crew still waits for him. At the same time, Al Unser Jr. comes in and makes a stop, goes back out into the action. A definite help for Al Unser Jr. Rahal trying to get his car around. He's up at the pit entrance. And this is a critical situation here because someone else could come in. You see the Porsche car making its stop. Now Rahal finally gets it going. Michael Andretti, the team working on the car, trying to get it back. There's Raul Boisel. He makes a stop as well, but this doesn't appear to be routine. They're working on that car. Rick Mears makes a stop at the same time. So with this full course yellow, a number of serious situations developing. And Michael Andretti rolls back to the fight. Rahal back to the fight. Both these cars sideways. It looked like Michael lost it, and then Rahal kicked it sideways to avoid hitting Michael.